If you're a dad working a 9 to 5 and want to start a Pokemon business, you need to meet Mike. He's a regular dude with 2 kids who runs a $500,000 rip and ship business while his family sleeps. But that's not even the craziest part. Check this out. He only streams 3 times a week and his average viewer count, 40. 40 people on average watches his stream and he clears $500,000 of revenue his first year. What? And that's why I had to interview him. Back in my younger days, I thought marriage and kids meant the end of my entrepreneurial dreams. But Mike is living proof that that's a lie. Hi everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is our first time doing an online interview and I am very honored to have Mike from Mike X Collectibles on today's show. So if anybody is unaware of who Mike is, he has a very successful online rip and ship business. And what stood out to me about Mike is not only the accomplishments he's done with the business, but that he is a husband, a father before all else, juggling a 9 to 5 and crushing it in the TCG space. So I know a lot of people will find value from this conversation. Mike, thank you for having us.
No, thank you for having me, Kevin. Nice to see everyone. Thanks for having me on today. Love to see kind of where our conversation goes. But yeah, I'm honored and excited to be your first virtual interview, which is going to be fun. So yeah, it's a good time. So
awesome. So just giving some back history, right? Mike, how did you think, oh, I should start a TCG business?
Yeah, no, it's kind of an interesting thing. I think, at the time when my first son, when he was born, he was, when he was turning 1, for some reason I decided to get into collecting again because I was a collector Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards back when I was a kid myself. So when he had turned 1, I was like, oh, maybe I could start a collection for him. And then from there, I could start collecting as a hobby with him growing up. Because I did that a little bit with my dad.
Awesome.
But next thing you know, for that first year of collecting, I collected so much stuff that there was just, again, this was back in 2023, 2024. So that there was so much product that you could just go out there and buy. And I just had so much product that I was like, this is getting too much. And my wife was, trying to figure out, are you going to rip all these? Or you can just keep a seal collection? And in my mind, I was a seal collector to start with. But I think at one point, I was just like, you know what? I think I want to rip all these, but I wanted to rip it on camera. And I also wanted to rip it on that's actually my wife's idea. It's just like, why don't you just do a YouTube channel where you just start ripping packs and just since you're ripping anyway, why not make content out of it? And then from there, there was never a thought about doing a rip and ship business or even an online TCG store. But I guess ultimately it kind of transitioned into that because when we hit 2025, I've always wanted to do my own business.
Okay. And
so one of the major things of that, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try and see if I could make this openings into, people were doing rip and ships. I was aware of it. I never really joined in on them, but it was always fun to watch. I was like, I think I might be able to entertain people and get people to rip some packs with me, and be able to, start a business from that. So that's kind of how it started. Originally a collection for my son. Then it became hoarding too much Pokemon product at home. And then it became just want to rip things live on live stream. And then it kind of became this whole business idea. It's like, oh, maybe we'll see if everyone was willing to kind of join the rip and ship on my end. So that's kind of the back end. Long story short, that's kind of how it happened.
I'm sure everybody can relate. Myself was collecting around the same time as well. And then you have a kid, you're thinking about them and the future memories you can have with them, but now it gets expensive. My wife is also asking, hey, what are you doing spending all this money? So you need to start being creative.
Right.
And of course, finding an opportunity that fits best for you. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, I think it's kind of started can you get it? In the original is kind of can you get enough hits or chase cards so that it funds itself, which reality is not it's kind of hard to do. But now it's kind of the mindset. I feel like a lot of people who I like to call myself a ripper. I truly think that like all the sealed product is meant to be ripped open. It's not meant to sit on shelves for years to come. And obviously, it has a lot of people who would like to invest into it. But I've always found myself enjoying ripping things.
Go for the chase.
Ripping packs. Yeah, so going for the chase. So for me, it's always just been an exciting journey. And getting back into it was a little bit overwhelming of how much I've missed out over the past 20 plus years of not collecting. And going back into it, it was a nice change of pace. It was a nice new hobby to get into outside of just the day-to-day job or just family, something I could do myself. And that truly did kind of make things a hobby, right? It got me into a hobby of doing something outside of being a dad and being, a worker. So.
Speaking of that, right? If you're able to share, what's your background?
Yeah.
What's your 9 to 5, right?
Yeah.
If you can share.
Yeah, so I went to school for mechanical engineering and business management, but how they say after you graduate, you don't really do what you do. So I ended up going to consulting. So I do a lot of data analytics consulting, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's nothing too crazy. But I'm a data guy. I'm a metrics guy.
Awesome.
So that's kind of my back end. Yeah.
That's needed for a rip and ship, tight margin, P&L based business.
Right. Yeah. And I always like to kind of see how metrics work. And I recently, kind of looked at metrics for my past year and even the current year. It's always kind of just cool to look back on kind of how a business functions and how far you've come. But when you're in it, you don't really think about it. Like I don't actively think about it, but taking a step back and looking at it from a metric standpoint, it's cool to see some of the data you can pull from it. So
yeah, have you seen that Pokédad? That's a data science analyst. Yeah,
I think. Is that a Pokédad? No, I don't.
Yeah,
think
it's a YouTuber. Let me see here if I can find him. He's a data scientist.
But I will say lots of people who have our kind of data background tend to go into this type of field, so to say.
Yeah, Pokey Data Dad Guy.
Oh, I have not. No, I have not.
Yeah, his day job is a data analyst.
That's awesome.
And he
I gotta check him out then.
Yeah, he applies his professional background to the hobby. Yeah, he has some pretty cool stuff.
I've seen some people do some pretty cool content. A lot of people do like investing content in the sense of like looking at cards, kind of like how trends go and things like that. Yeah. And they have like a pretty data heavy background. Yeah. So it's always cool to kind of see that being applied.
Okay, awesome. So Mike, I got a chance to watch your 1 year look back video, and you mentioned that you had to negotiate with your wife to give 1 year for you to see if you can make something out of this business. Can you walk us through that conversation? You know what was going on in the room? Other people are probably going through that right now, or will have to. Right?
Yeah, it was basically around end of 2024 when we were going into the new year, and that's most people you're looking at like New Year resolution, right? And for me, instead of like the typical weight loss journey or like just doing something, committing to, that's my typical New Year resolution weight loss journey. But I wanted to really try something completely different. And so in my mind, I've always wanted to start a business and kind of wanted to just own something and see it for like long term and not just like for a few months, And so, as I kind of mentioned earlier, the idea of a rip and ship business and TCG store with all the product that I had, I was talking to my wife. I was like, I really want to just take this year, 2025, and just see how far I could go with it. I want to see if I could make this work, if people would hop on the streams, if I'm entertaining enough for people to join, buy packs, and have a good time and grow an audience. And my wife, I'm truly lucky to have this. My wife is super supportive of me in almost everything I do. And I think she understood also that it was kind of a new outlet for me outside of like, work and also outside of like being home with the kids and things like that. So it was kind of like the hobby that she was supporting, but also the business side, that obviously was a bit of a risk, but it's more so of a calculated risk because, again already had so much inventory that started out with, so might as well wait. Well, we paid the money in. It's not like we're going anymore, right? So, so she was super supportive. I mean, the only thing she made sure is whether or not I could handle all the responsibilities and doing everything on top of working full time and obviously taking care of our 1-year-old son at the time. He was gonna be turning 2 soon, so he was already kind of making sure that I gave him enough attention as well,
right?
And I didn't miss out on him growing up, so to say, right? So it's definitely one of those things that I do feel was a negotiation in the sense of like she just wanted to make sure that I could handle it all, and I told her, yeah, I think I can, and so she kind of let me, okay, well, go try out, see what you can do.
Okay, discussion, not a negotiation. Okay.
Yeah, more so. I mean, negotiation obviously means that at the end of the day, I still have to wash dishes and I still the house chores, right? Yeah, so I still have to do like the part. I guess if we want to talk about another piece of it, I still have to do all the house chores, make the house clean, tidy things up, and do all that stuff.
What, I guess, requirements, all right, or what was agreed upon? You could do this as long as you do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. I think the main parts was obviously spend time with the kids, spend time with the family. Obviously not drain the bank account, right? Make sure all the chores and things kind of around the house that normally take care of, I take care of.
Yeah.
So basically, continue being a husband and a father, and just maintain that as long as there's no major impact to that.
Right.
I think she was fine. So
awesome. Have a 6-month-old now?
Yeah. We're second kid, December 2025. So he's gonna be turning 7 months in the 2 weeks or so. It's pretty crazy. And time flies as well.
So how does and I guess mode of operation that works with you trying to juggle everything, making sure your family's taken care of, but your business is growing?
Yeah, I there's only you could choose in the day. You're gonna have so many hours in the day, right? And so for me, I basically choose to sleep less and use that time instead of sleeping to work on my stuff. Because pretty much my day to day is like I do my 9 to 5, but before work, we might get the kids breakfast or things like that, get up and stuff, and then after work is kind of it's again more family time. Helping around the house, playing with the kids, playing with my son, right? Things like that. But then once they go to bed, that's when I'm able to kind of do a lot more, which is whether that's doing inventory, organizing the shop, looking for kind of figuring out deals online, things like that. Deals with inventory, just kind of working on the business itself. And of course, I've been lucky because my wife, again, just awesome because when I do live stream, she's obviously watching the kids while I live stream. But I only live stream a few times a week. That's also another piece of it. So it's not every single day I'm streaming, which also does help with allowing me time to do other stuff for the shop, like shipping, right? All the stuff we rip that requires time, so we don't have too much of a backlog. That also means I could go out, like today I went out to go buy a collection from someone, so that allows me to have some time in between to do other stuff. And then again, on the days I'm not streaming, I'm also just kind of hanging out with the family and go out doing things, which is always good. So that's kind of the balance, but I definitely don't get enough sleep, so that's part of it, part of the sacrifice.
How's your health? Are you doing?
I would say, honestly, not amazing. I would say it's kind of like you go to college, get your freshman 20.
Yeah.
So to say, right? It's like, for me, my health is taking a toll. I will admit, because of just how much grind.
For sure.
I'm always grinding because I'm staying up 2, 3, sometimes 4 in the morning doing stuff, and I wake up around 8. So I'm making maybe average. I say I get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Haven't had a chance to really go and exercise as much as I want to. So I do have a few aspects there that I could definitely work on. It's just trying to find that balance of time and everything. So, but this year, for 2025 was purely just grinding it out. It's like say grind as much as possible. And then this year was incorporating health into the lifestyle, which is after you get the first year down, you get a gauge of what the cadence is, and then I now incorporate time into working out, going out for walks with the family, just do active things over the weekends. Obviously, having our 3-year-old son, and he's gonna keep me active, running around all the time. So it's definitely kind of had this roller coaster health wise because of just,
of course,
there's no easy way to grind through this without some sort of like sacrifice, of something, right? In this case, I chose sleep as my sacrifice, which in a nutshell, sleep is important for recovery for everything. So, but it's 2025 was pretty rough, but 2026 was kind of like, okay, I see I have health issues. Let's see if I could change it, kind of.
Yep. Nothing that can't rework, right? Life is a project that you work and iterate on, so not a problem. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's dive into a little bit about the business here. Of course, this is our real full-length conversation, Mike. From what I saw, you started out with the online store, and then you did the rip and ship streams. Is that the right timeline?
They kind of happen at the same time.
Okay.
So I built the online store as a way for people to go to look at all the products I had.
Right.
And the way I set up was that you can either buy the product and ship sealed, so you can get it sealed, or you could rip out live stream. So on the days that I would live stream, I will be basically post a link to my website, and people go there and buy packs. Because when I noticed of other people who were ripping at the time when I started, they basically didn't have a website, or really didn't have a solid website. They might have some site up that they would just have packs listed, but you had to like Venmo, you had to like Venmo them or PayPal them. So obviously the person I knew who that was, but for someone who's never participated, it's like friction. Well, I don't know if you're legit or not. You want to send you PayPal and Venmo, it's kind of a different thing, right? So there's trust issues. So for me, I felt like one important thing I wanted to establish was creating a legitimate website, but also making sure that I was a LLC, so I was a registered business as well, so that again people knew that I'm a legit business, right? And so building the website was a that trust building, and then obviously kind of a way to funnel people into looking at other stuff beyond just like packs, right? Most people think rip and ship as just opening loose packs or just packs, booster packs, right? They don't really think about other types of product that you can rip open, and there's so many things that you can open up on stream. So why limit it to just booster packs where you can have collection boxes, right? You can have a whole booster box if you want to rip open. So that's kind of how that came about. So it was kind of a together thing. The website was to support the rip and ship, but also give more people options so that if they want to ship sealed, they can as well. Yeah,
absolutely. In terms of past year, and I'm sure this number grew, right? But it was an estimate of at least that 1 year, 3,200 orders that you completed.
Oh yeah.
Right. With a perfect 100% delivery rate. That's insane.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, it's insane. I think it's insane. Yeah.
40 states.
42, I think 43 or something like that. Yeah. 40 plus states.
So, if somebody's looking into this, right, I think even when I started with just simple TCG player, right, the shipping logistics is a total nightmare, at least so for you having to juggle things live, the website, managing to order yourself, what's your advice or framework you can share to help others stay organized?
Yeah, I think I break to multiple portions and kind of segments of time. So like, typically I think of it as is structured in like different categories. So like you have your kind of inventory, which you kind of manage your inventory. You have to figure out how to source the inventory, bring inventory in. And then once you bring the inventory in, you kind of have to do pricing and things. That's like all the inventory piece of it. Then you have the live stream piece of it. You have to set up the live stream, you have to set the camera, actually, show up, entertain people, right? You have to perform the live stream, get people to want to buy from you, right? And then so you actually conduct the live stream and make the sales, right? And then after that is the shipping part. So shipping is obviously probably the part that most people don't see. for Rip and Ship, because they see a Rip and Ship, they just
Yep.
see you live streaming. That's it.
Magically appear.
But right, and then but all this other work happens in the background
Yeah.
on top of inventory, do the shipping, and so shipping is actually took me a while to figure out in the sense of what's the best packaging, or what's the best way to kind of get the cards ready to get shipped out for someone in a way that's efficient and also not wasting.
Right.
Because people don't understand, cardboard boxes are like pretty expensive. They're not cheap.
They are.
They could go up to 60 cents for some of the even the smaller boxes, but up to $1 for some of the bigger boxes.
Yeah.
So it definitely cuts into a cost.
Yeah.
So, but I always say that for shipping, I recommend for those who are new to kind of test it out, get a few different boxes to try out what size works for your kind of rip and ship business. Because sometimes I get sealed orders. I get also just like live people who want the bulk. So bulk cards is definitely a bigger box and things like that. So, but basically there's a trial period that you have to kind of go through and figure out what works best. But the way my rule of thumb is like, how would I like to receive my products from someone else? And actually one fun thing I did was I ordered from different rip and shippers just to kind of gauge what their kind of packaging was like. Just to get a gauge of like how I'm doing it, just to kind of see, are there components that I liked about it, are there components I didn't like about it, and what would I change? So that's definitely a big part of it. That's I mean, you pay for that knowledge, so to say, but you get to kind of see what other people are doing. So that's another piece of it. And I always like, maybe this is saying I have trust issues, but I always take the packages myself to the post office.
Yeah.
So I go to USPS, I go to UPS, and I drop them off, knowing that it's been scanned. I've seen it. You know what I mean? Obviously, some people do when the rip and ship is big enough. You get people to your house and do pickups. But I'm always afraid of some journey in between. Something happens, and I think a few years ago, an Amazon truck, someone got mad and they just threw all the packages, the driver threw all the packages into,
I remember.
Right, so somewhere. And so I was like, I always, every single day I kind of ship, I basically go to a post office and ship things out. And there's a cadence to it, like every other day or so, as kind of the days I'm off, I'm kind of managing work on the shipping. And when the days I'm on streaming, I'm focused on shipping and inventory and listings. So you kind of categorize it along the way. But once you kind of ship things out, the main thing is to make sure that you monitor emails for if there's anybody questioning whether that package arrived or anything came damaged or anything like that. So that's kind of the life cycle. And then you kind of repeat the process over again.
You taking that step to make sure it's delivered and scanned, I think that might be a reason why you have that 100%. Because I ordered something off eBay and it got lost because the seller just assumed that dropping the package off, the post office will scan it. It was never scanned. They just had to take his word for it.
Oh, yeah. It's tough. Yeah, it's like, no, I'm also very lucky because part of business, I think, when you're working on a rip and ship, it's beyond just in the shop. For me, it's also building kind of relationships with people at the post office, building relationships with people, whether it's USPS or UPS. Pretty much, I know the folks by their name because I'm like, hey, good to see you again, and kind of that helps with like, oh, Mike, you're here. Oh, you're looking. Sometimes they'll be like, "You're looking a little light today. What's going on?" I'm like, hey, it's a little slow week, but but that kind of
partners.
Yeah, right. You kind of build that relationship with other external players, and then that also kind of helps make sure that kind of things goes more smoothly. There's been multiple times where I got off work at 4:45. Post office closes at 5. I show up at the door 5 minutes late. They're like, "Oh, it's Mike. All right, let me stuff in." So those are the times where it does help. And usually during like the holiday season, I would like get some like Starbucks gift cards, and I'll just like give them a few, just give them something as a token of my appreciation. But that's really kind of how you kind of build that relationship with other folks. So it's kind of to think about beyond, just yourself. And this them being a service, but you can also make some good business relations through that. So.
Absolutely, just like how you invest into business, those are different cogs within the business that you need to invest in as well.
Yeah, it's a big whole gear system, right?
Right.
Turning together, working together.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, Mike, you said something really interesting how you compartmentalize your business. Inventory,
Yeah.
sourcing. Okay, regular people can't even get product,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
are shipping. And so your
Yeah.
I mean, right, boogie
Yeah. Yeah.
that packs, right?
Right. Right.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
product that you are going through. How are you sourcing on a consistent basis, right?
Yeah.
What are some of can help others provide so others can do the same or even get close?
Yeah, it's you for some reason I think, and I don't know if it's because there people are just isn't really exposed to as much, but I most of my stuff that I get, especially like English Pokemon.
Hmm.
Actually, let me take a step back. So I've tried to get distribution,
Okay.
and every single distributor that I've reached out to, if they hear your online store, they do not give distribution to you. They automatically just say they'll make you fill out a little survey, and then you check the box. And if you check the box that you're
get
online,
denied.
like online store or something like that,
Yeah.
you're just immediately like, oh, sorry, we're not taking it, which
Yeah.
is fine. So I've tried that the distributor route, and it just doesn't work. But most of the stuff that I'm finding is all through kind of Facebook groups. So there are so many Facebook Pokemon, English Pokemon buy and sell groups where people are selling their collections. Like today, I picked up a collection from someone in the local area that I'm part of the Maryland Facebook Pokemon group.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people out there that have collection or that have product. Whether some people I've met who actually have, but this is like last year when it wasn't as crazy as now, but they actually have extra inventory left over from their shop, who are shop owners, and they're for some reason certain products are not moving, so I'm able to kind of grab them at a percentage off. So obviously the main thing is most people are selling collections in quantity. Like you're not going to be able to get like a percentage off if you're just buying one item, right? So you're probably going to have to pay market. But for me, I'm usually buying maybe sometimes even hundreds. If it comes to packs, it's hundreds of packs, things like that. But most of my inventory is sourced English Pokemon product, One Piece product, are kind of sourced via just groups.
Yeah.
Facebook group, just Facebook listings. Facebook Marketplace sometimes works for me. Really, I think it really depends on person's location. For me, in my area in the DMV, there's a good amount of a lot of collectors. So there's a good amount of people selling a lot of stuff. And then for my Japanese products, like Pokemon, One Piece, I actually have a distributor in Japan. And that person, it wasn't like you had to apply for anything.
Right.
I just went on Instagram and I was searching for just Japanese Pokemon, and you have all these different accounts that pop up. And I literally, for like a good day or so, I messaged maybe like 100 different accounts to see if I could be like, hey, if I want to buy a case of One Piece or a case of of Japanese Pokemon, how much is it, things like that. Ultimately I landed on someone that was able to work with me really well, and this was before all the tariffs that came about, which made products much more expensive.
Yeah.
But we were able to get a lot of products in for a good value, fairly cheap under market, and be able to make a pretty good percentage on Japanese. So yeah, those are kind of, and I do have like a few other like sometimes eBay has some pretty good deals on auctions. So I am an LLC, so that I do have I'm a registered business in the state, so I do have a tax exemption, sales tax exemption. Right. Which for eBay you can actually get a reseller's license. Right. So you don't have to pay taxes on it, which already kind of saves you 5%. Right. Right. But basically, auctions at times, sometimes you can find a pretty good deal. English products is kind of hard, but sometimes again going off of Japanese products, especially now that tariffs are more expensive with Japanese products coming in. Sometimes eBay auctions is a way to kind of find products for cheap. And the main thing is obviously trying to win those bids, but outside of that, you could get some good products there. Awesome. So yeah, that's kind of where all this comes from. And you don't notice it until you start dumping bags of like my cup packs. It's, for those who don't know, I every single I have a whole bin, because when I do I cut my packs, so it's just an easy thing to cut, and so I save every single one. There's a huge bin right behind me. They're just full of packs. But I don't think people actually realize, because most people just dump their trash away. Again, I'm kind of a hoarder, but also a collector in that sense. but I'd always felt that it would be cool to visually see how much you rip in a year.
That
And
was
so
such
I
a cool
always
video.
saved everything. Yeah. So it's even more now. So
Are you doing a part 2? Year 2?
yeah, I plan on doing it because I plan on making a video about kind of what we're talking about, getting supplies and inventory, because I think that's a topic that a lot of people, even people in my ship, like people who rip with me in the community, that they've been interested about.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to kind of visually see. But in that video, I think you saw with the Boogie, that I had a different video. Just I used that Boogie's video as like just a for fun thing, but it was over 73,800 packs.
73,000.
Yeah, and that was that was first year basically.
Wow.
So it was a lot.
Wow.
But again, some boxes, like Japanese boxes, have 30 packs,
Yeah.
and they're pretty light. So it's still a lot. It's ripping a lot of packs.
I don't want to see your bulk collection.
Yeah, you see there, right? There's a listing of bulk right behind me from the other screen. There is a whole wall on the outside.
Yeah.
This room, I actually cleared all of the bulk, but it is a lot of bulk. Which apparently a lot of the bulk now, right? There are people who sell bulk.
Right.
And it's definitely like 151 bulk is crazy expensive right now.
Yep.
So, I've been holding on because I'm like, I wanted to kind of put my hands into the bulk side as well. But of course, it's just kind of figure out the time, right? Because I'm only one person. It's like, what's the time? So
for sure.
I think I checked. I probably have over 300,000 or 400,000 cards just in bulk, and this is bulk from people ripping that they didn't want.
Correct.
So it's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Wow. Great segue. You're a one man A to Z even content. So looking back at your year review, you were able to achieve a 10% margin for $500,000 in sales. Congratulations. That's
thank you.
Amazing. In my eyes, 10% is very healthy, but curious to see how you're thinking about it as going into, midway into year 2 and then year 3, 4, 5. Is that going to grow? Are you going to expand? How does about that piece as you grow?
Yeah, I think when I first started, I think as any business person going to this new venture, a lot of competition.
Yes.
I made my margins in the beginning very small, just so to compete, right? Be like the best possible if I could, right? So people want to come and rip. But I think the first year I wasted a lot of money on different things that I didn't need to do. One of the things that, I mean, it's just like the things I had someone about doing marketing, right? So I did like this whole locally, because again, even though I'm an online rip and ship store, if you're in the DMV area, you can actually buy a product and you could do a local pickup where I'll meet you in the local area and can pick up. So I was trying to grow the local side of things as well. And I think I paid like $800 to be featured in one of like some ad or something like that.
Yeah.
And I end up like, honestly, I don't think I got anything out of it, but I was down $800. Just like it's a small example of some like money I put into like things that I probably didn't need to. I think kind of looking back on 2025, there was a lot of expenses that I could have probably saved on. But so moving forward, I think what I'm trying to do is be more selective with my lots, like collections I pick up or deals that I make that actually makes sense. I think in the beginning, and I think everyone's going to feel the same way if they first begin, is that you're just trying to get product. Like you don't really, you're trying to just stock your store up. If you're going to take like a 10%, like a 90%, you're paying them 90% or something like that, just so you could get product in a store. It's part of the process of building up. And then over time, hopefully that goes into better margins. But, I think the major thing is trying to figure out if you can use your money wisely. Because again, money comes in very quickly, but also goes out very quickly in this business. Because sometimes you get a good deal, but you'll be left to kind of take money out of my personal savings to get this deal done, and sometimes you have to be a little bit select. And I've done that a lot, probably more than I should have, and because you end up
like that.
Yeah, why if you don't like that, right? It's because you're eating yourself into a deeper hole that way. And I've done that. And then you have this pressure that mounts up being like, okay, I got to sell this. Let's pay off this credit card bill now. You know what I'm saying? So So I one part is figuring out how to use the money more wisely. But now that I've had a whole year of experience, now I'm always looking at things in a way that I feel like I'm trying to be around 20% margins nowadays. So like the lot I picked up a collection today. It's worth around 21,000. My biggest collection I've ever picked up, by the way. That happened today, right before this interview. It was 80%. I paid 80%, and
Awesome.
so we should probably be able to get about 4,000 plus in profit when it comes out. I'm trying to do more of that, and be able to, and not just like put my money into like marketing, because now I've been doing my own marketing. I've been doing my own social media, and it's been, I feel like, paying off for the past year. So now it's not as important that I need to get the marketing. It's more so just having the good inventory or quality inventory that keeps people kind of coming back and being like, oh, Mike's got this cool stuff, and not just like another Chaos Rising booster pack or what everyone else always has, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how I've been trying to grow this year, is trying to find better percentages, being more smart with my money, and not just buying any single product I see. Because again, some products are going to hit, some products don't. Like ETBs, they're great for people who like to collect, but not everyone's going to want to rip it on stream. You see what I'm saying? So like the ETBs, I still have so many. Pokemon Center ETBs are great for people who want Pokemon Center ETBs for their seal collection, but not everyone's going to want to rip a seal Pokemon Center. Whenever I see a Pokemon Center ETB, unless it's one I don't have in stock, I try to avoid it, because I had so much just sitting on the shelf. Because no one wanted to rip it on stream, right? And Pokemon Center ET, like Obsidian Flames and stuff like that.
No one wanted
so high.
No one wanted to buy even on the sealed side. Did it deliver?
So yeah, I think nowadays, again, as like a more exposure, people are like, oh, Mike's like a reputable store, and they'll come and buy it. But in the beginning, I was just picking up things where there were so many Pokemon Center ETBs. I thought I was getting a great deal. It's like, oh, this is Pokemon Center. Who doesn't want Pokemon Center ETB? Well, apparently nobody wants to rip that, which makes sense, right? Because it's a sealed collection. So, but definitely nowadays, to buy it, it's just previously, not everyone. I think one thing to remember is not everyone's going to have a few $100s. Like I think a 151 Pokemon Center ETB now is like over 1,000. Like no one's going to have that much money just to spend loosely like that. So. Yeah, it's definitely a kind of learning curve there.
So you're saying, of course, just over time, better spending management, better inventory selections.
Yeah.
And did you mention a third one for margins?
And margins itself, and what's it? Selection, making sure you don't spend your money wisely, and just like just kind of figuring out like what works for, I guess another thing is figure out what works for your customers, because everyone's customer base is very different. Some people like more vintage stuff, but most of my people who come to my streams enjoy more of the semi-older to more modern stuff. So there's like no point to like have like a base set pack or anything like that necessarily. So so also audience and kind of what they want. And lots of times I people through my Discord group what exactly they would like to have to see on the shop, and taking their feedback and then kind of incorporating it. So that'd be a third thing, is listen to your customers and seeing kind of what's out there.
Awesome. Speaking of customer and your data background, you have your store analytics, Discord data, as throughout all the time you've been operating. What are some big patterns that you've uncovered that you didn't know before starting?
I think one of the biggest things I didn't realize, I stream only 8 times. I don't stream every day, but I spend over 800 hours streaming. Like that's how many stream hours I have, which is about 35 days or so. It's like 833. And I think that metric just showcases how much you have to kind of push time you have to put into this business. Because when you don't stream, is you could quickly become very you just lose customers. The whole point of a rip ship is to gain customers through your live streams. If you're not streaming or you start canceling streaming, people are gonna start going to other competitors, right? Going people who are live
Right.
and buying off of them. So I think one of the realities of a rippership is that a lot of time commitment to be on screen and on camera. Um, so there's definitely that. Other trends that I've seen, I'm trying to think, will be another like good one. We had so what's interesting is the YouTube algorithm is always kind of a weird thing. Again, I'm primarily a stream on YouTube,
Yeah.
and the algorithm sometimes kick a stream off really well, and sometimes it will just like not. So it's something that I try to figure out. For even though I've been doing this for the past year, that YouTube algorithms will kick a lot of people to your stream if there's a lot of people kind of talking in the stream. If you have a community that are very actively engaged, I feel like that kind of helps kick that algorithm to bump more people to the stream.
Okay.
But if you have a stream that's not many people are talking, not people are engaged, then it kind of dwindles the number count. Like, the major things that I always do is even though no one's like talking, I try to talk to people and be like, have them talk back to me, and have a conversation. Now, if you don't know, like if you're like my neighbor, you don't know what I'm doing in like my room, you just hear like this guy talking to himself this whole time, you know what I mean, for hours at a time. So it is definitely, a kind of a learning curve that I kind of noticed from the metrics, because one of the big things is trying to figure out, that took me a while to figure out, was what day of the week to stream.
Yeah. How did you pick those?
Because like, so I think when I first began, I had started like 4 days a week. I think it was like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sundays. And so why I did that for maybe a good few months when I first started. And what I noticed was that it was very exhausting to have a Thursday and Friday stream back to back, because it didn't give me enough time to do shipping. So it was like accumulating orders to do on the Saturday, and then to also stream again on the Sunday, because post office is closed on Sunday. What's the point of packaging on Saturday? So you end up having so much, much packages to put together.
Great points.
But finding a cadence that works is also very important. It took me a while to figure out what worked best for me, but I figured that currently I'm streaming Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, and that's like a perfect split to give me some time, and I could have accumulate orders between Friday and Sunday to pack on Monday.
Right.
And so I have Monday and Tuesday to kind of pack, and then Wednesday for another stream. So it's kind of like a midweek break for people to be like, oh, I had a long week. Let me step back and and something. So Wednesdays are a little bit of a way to kind of break up the because Tuesday and Thursday I just found like Tuesdays were pretty slow. It's like there's not many people coming on as much. People were just starting out the week or busy with things. So that's one. Other thing that's really important metric wise is the time you stream. So I'm on the East Coast side, and you're on the West Coast side. Yes. So this actually works perfectly. So if you do too early in the day, so like for example, I think I tried recently because I had the newborn. I started streaming at 6:00, and so people just got off work on the East Coast side, but people are still working on the West Coast side.
That's true.
So people don't start logging on. The customers that I know who live in California, they don't start logging on until like 10:00 or 12:00, or like super later in the day. So you do have to take into that into consideration kind of where we're located. Because what I noticed is that there was a huge chunk of time where from 6 to like 8:00, there was not much activity going on. But like starting at around 8, 9, 10:00, that's where West Coast people start joining the stream, because they're done with work, they're done with dinner or whatever, and they just kind of come by to hang out. Sometimes 12:00 really picks up on a Sunday night or Friday night, because everyone's like laying in bed just chilling out, or that's when like the stream really kicks off. So I started getting later and later into stream, because I want to find a time that works best for both East Coasters and West Coasters and everyone in between, right? So the metrics wise, that was another big one, is looking at the time of day, and then that kind of depends on where you're located, and that's something for you to kind of figure out what works best and kind of where customer base is.
Great points. Want to do a time check with you, Mike.
Yep.
I know we're coming up to 7:00 for you. We do have a few more questions. How are you on time?
Oh, I'm good. I'm having a good time chatting. Perfect. So if you don't mind this being a longer thing than we expected, then that works fine for me. Yeah.
No, I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, of course.
So let's dive into the platform and tech side, because whenever I think of live rip and ship, live selling, I think of Whatnot. I think of
Yeah.
TikTok selling, but you're doing
yeah.
something pretty different. You have your own website. You're on YouTube, and you're using a Discord channel as well. Can you walk me through exactly your entire user and why you made those decisions?
Yeah, I think right off the bat, I wanted as much of the margins as possible.
Yeah.
And that really comes back to my previous experience. I used to sell a little bit on eBay, so I kind of got a gauge of how much percentage they took
Yeah.
from every item you sell.
Yeah.
So again, 2025 was a year for me to kind of challenge myself and to build everything from scratch. And so, and really just build something reputable. Now, Whatnot, now and TikTok, what definitely gets sometimes, a bad vibes, maybe because of like things that can happen on certain. You have a few bad apples who may like scam someone off of a card, and kind of makes the whole Whatnot label not that great.
Okay.
So that was kind of a turnoff, just for me, because I didn't want to really. Nothing against any Whatnot streamers, but I just don't want to kind of be associated as being a Whatnot streamer, because it's like, oh, you're just like another Whatnot streamer, It's like no, but I wanted to really kind of own everything. The only thing I wanted to kind of pay was like the credit card processing fee or anything like that. So having that piece of it is definitely a great motivation for me, and also just kind of building a site that I wanted to look like, So it was definitely a business decision to go that path. But also the more margins I had, that also gave me more opportunity to make things cheaper for people.
Right.
Because I don't have to get cut out 14 or whatever 10% fee that they would take, right? So that definitely was another motivating factor, because I want to give my customers the best products, but also the best prices as much as possible.
That makes sense.
So
that makes sense. And let me just play devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
On for someone who's not as tech savvy as you, right?
Yeah.
I think the argument around using a done-for-you platform is one, ease, faster startup, but also their platform is designed to funnel as many people to you as possible.
Yeah.
So even though there are fees, there is more business funneled to you. What's your response to that?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. That's the benefit of doing Whatnot, or TikTok. And I think the only thing is that the only hard part about a Whatnot now is just how many people are in it.
Right.
It's like, how do you have all the competition on this platform? How do you then separate yourself out from everybody else?
True.
Which is always going to be a pain point. But like, whereas on YouTube, right, the number of rip and shippers on there compared to Whatnot, it's a much smaller pool of people. So you have a little bit more opportunity to be exposed to others, and then you have kind of an opportunity there. Whereas Whatnot, it's meant for everybody who, you're right, everybody who's pulled is ripping a pack, more than likely, more than the probably spend money on whatever auction style that you might want to do with your packs, or auctioning single cards and things like that. It's a platform built for that. So definitely for someone who's non-tech savvy, doesn't necessarily know how to build up a website or anything like that, which, by the way, I didn't know how to do that. A lot of it's click and drag nowadays, which is a lot easier. It's not like coding or anything. That's what people may think old school wise.
Right.
But definitely, like, I took a look at Whatnot. I definitely made an account just to kind of see how it looked like. But I never got to test out the live stream or anything like that. Because I felt like there was just so much competition and in there that I was like, let's try to see if I could be in a different this pool of water over here, and see kind of what I could make out of that. So, but yeah, it's definitely, you just have more competition on the Whatnot side, but it's great for someone who wants to test things out and see if they even like it.
That's true.
Whatnot is a great place to go. I don't know much about TikTok, about how much to do to set things up.
Yeah.
But there is obviously a bit of a learning curve on both platforms, but definitely a lot easier. It's definitely an easier path if you want to kind of test it out to see if you enjoy streaming or not. But very different customer base. Definitely, you can definitely get a lot of people in flow wise into like maybe potentially see your stream. But I think the only thing is those margins, man. It's just of a one not streamer. Like if you look at some of the prices, they have to elevate the prices to cover the fees. So you as a consumer have to pay more.
Right.
But whereas like no, out here on the other end of the side of things where I'm owning my own shop, I could set the price to a point where it's still maybe even below market price on TCG Player, and that's why I try aim to do is try to be below below market price on TCG Player, so that people still can get a deal.
Right.
So I think from a consumer standpoint, yeah, you have a lot of options, but from side of things is you deal with the upcharge in some products because of the fees. So
yeah, great point. I also think about it using these platforms to start out, validate that you like it, that you can be good at it, and use that to build a community audience that you can then funnel to your own world and control those margins. Very similar to other TCG Player, eBay, right? To funnel into their own website, or even me and my wife has an Airbnb, and we try to funnel people to our own website. So so we save on fees as well. Same logic.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's a method to start out because to kind of not have to do so much work to bring in And if you get a good community of people, you could try to see if you could transition them over to another platform, which is good.
Awesome. So next question here, and just double checking, you never actually whatnot TikTok, but you never actually tried to stream, right?
No, maybe I've not do TikTok live stream, but it's not for the sake of the business, but just to see what live stream on TikTok was. I think originally when I first started, I thought about multi-streaming. So right now I multi-stream between YouTube and Twitch. Is kind of how I do my live streams. So I stream at the same time on both platforms.
Oh, okay.
At one point I was thinking about TikTok to see but I felt like I was spreading myself too thin across like 3 streams at the same time, and I know TikTok also has the built-in like selling features like products and things like that. So I wasn't sure if I was going to violate any of those things. So I just kind of played the safe route and then just did YouTube and Twitch. So that's kind of what I did. But yeah, I did look at TikTok originally just to see if I could just stream to it. I might have played with it once, but never actually tried the business side of it.
So YouTube's a little interesting. I don't know how the monetization side works, but since you are streaming, you have all these views. I think almost a million different streams, right?
Yeah.
Are you monetizing those views at all?
Not really, to be honest with you. So let's see. So like the views, they don't really like, other than like some donations I get for like people might send a donation for like a pack. I do well, like rip out a big hit, so like people as appreciation send me some donation bucks through YouTube. But the amount of actually views I get on the individual live streams are not that many. It's maybe a few thousand per stream, but it accumulates over time. And most of it is not. I don't monetize it. Like for example, on YouTube, I could have ads run throughout the stream.
Oh wow!
But I turn that off.
Yep.
Because I don't run the ads, because what if you're in the middle of a rip, and all of a sudden I'm ripping up in the ad.
Where did your card go?
Right?
No hit.
Surprise, right? yeah, surprise, you got your hit. So I turned those off. So I could monetize it, but I don't, because I don't want to interfere with the potential of impacting someone's rip.
Right.
Same thing on Twitch. When I think I'm not a Twitch partner, but I forgot what the level below the Twitch partner. When I finally been able to monetize on Twitch, I didn't realize it didn't turn it off. So I saw the chat be like, some people on chat be like, "Oh, Mike, when you ads on Twitch side, right?" And so, so I had to turn it off because. So my major focus on the business side is that I probably could make a few bucks here and there off of the ads, but it's not worth it in my opinion to decrease the viewer's experience.
For sure. So
for me, I turned that off. So other than donations, I maybe get probably on average maybe $100 a month, something like that. Nothing too crazy at all. So
understood. How about, have you thought about, or has anybody reached out to you about affiliate or sponsorships that you can weave in naturally?
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I feel like sponsorships are it's. I've had people to me like those companies that do those mystery packs,
Oh,
rips, things
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And there's certain I have to really think and decide on which sponsors I want to take on and
Yeah.
what kind of vibe I want to give off because
Right. Right.
like my channel is very much so family friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, people always say if you're ripping Pokemon cards, you're gambling in itself, which I get. But I think there's ways to do it in a way that I don't want to rip anyone off. Like, mystery packs are always one of those things that
Gray area.
is very popular in that. Like, everybody's doing mystery pack, regardless if, like, most ripper ships are doing mystery packs on top of, like, either slab or single cards right now.
Okay.
Like, that's, like, the latest thing I've been watching everybody do it.
Okay.
And for me, it's not nothing because I'm a right. So when it comes down to it, if your odds of getting the chase card is going to cost you a lot of value, to me, that's not takes away the fun of ripping a pack. So for me, I purely kind of focus on just ripping packs. So sponsors like those, I decline because I don't really want to associate myself with those type of mystery packs or those type of. That's because it's just not necessarily for my brand, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, I've had people reach out, but there hasn't been a really good sponsor that I've felt like could weave into kind of my style, my brand that would. So far nothing. But maybe in the future we'll see.
Got it. So let's this out here, Mike. For I always ask myself this, right? If you lost everything and you had to start from zero again, what would you do? What would Mike's new business strategy be to crush it?
Yeah. You mean not having a hoarded lots of Pokemon products? So none of that, huh?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think
Ground zero.
zero is definitely tough. It depends on if we're talking about are we talking about ripper ship purely, or we just talking about any portion of any.
Knowing what you know
business.
now, what would you do?
Yeah, I think if I had some funds, let's say like I don't know, 5,000, even 1,000. I'll probably just see if I could buy. There are quite a few people selling collections, smaller collections, like 80%. And legitimate English Pokemon product, for example, you could just get that. You can find it on lots of different Facebook groups. And I'll probably just start with a small batch of product, and then probably still create my own website because that's actually free to do. It's only when you start adding more features to it that you have to pay a membership for it. But if not, even if I didn't want to do the website, I would probably just live stream. Just go on YouTube, just live stream. You can live stream is free. You just start streaming it, and just see as people come through. Try and build a business from that. So I think you don't need too much, but huge part of a ripper ship is honestly personality. People who, if you have a good personality, if you're entertaining, people will come and watch you, hang out with you. And I think that's the huge part of it. So it doesn't necessarily, you don't have the fanciest of products. You don't have to have evolving skies. You could work with a perfect order booster bundle or a Chaos Rising. You could work with that. And people will be more than happy to meet with you and rip. There are also good Facebook groups around who are always looking for people who want to live stream. So you can actually reach out to mods in different Pokemon groups and see if they are looking for anybody to rip live. Because that's something actually for lots of Pokemon Facebook groups. They are looking for people to entertain the group. So as part of that, that's another free way of funneling in a way, right? You go in on one of the groups, you meet people who join your live stream, and you basically create an audience there. Then that's
you're a guest. You're on someone else's stream.
Or not a stream, but more so just like a group. Like if you have a Facebook group of like, I don't know, 1,000 people there's a bias group or something like that. Sometimes you have people who are looking for entertainment for the group itself, the Facebook group itself. So you can set up a live stream. And you can also guess. Some people do, depending on kind of where it's rare, but sometimes people will have other people rip on their streams. So, but again, that again blends into someone else's brand, so I don't want to recommend it. But that's another way to kind of look at potential audience and ways to get involved with ripping. And then again, you can also go the whatnot path as well. So there's a few different ways, but yeah, I'll probably start with that, which is not too much different from what I began with, but just with smaller quantity. If you could still work.
Got it. Okay, awesome. Looking back, are there any major traps or mistakes you would warn anyone starting out to be mindful of?
Yeah, I think definitely the inventory piece of it. I think a lot of people overlook and focus too much on inventory and just try to buy everything they can. Again, as I mentioned before, be smart with your money, because you can easily go very deep, very heavy into investment, and nobody in your stream might even like it.
Right.
I think other mistakes is depending on if you're tech savvy. If you're not savvy, if you can't do it yourself, try to do it yourself. It's a good way of enhancing your own skills, like video editing, working on marketing, creating like your Instagram, making Instagram shorts, things like that are essential skills. I think that's useful. And then if you're able to hone in on those skills, if you do reach a point where you can hire someone, then you could basically at that point, train them on things. So don't be afraid to try things and fail. The YouTube algorithm for me is still a crazy thing. Like I still don't get it fully all the time. But one thing is, when the algorithm really pushes your stuff, it pushes. When it doesn't, it could get frustrating. So, but don't give up. It's a patience. It's a long. Because ultimately, like my streams, like there are people on YouTube who stream who have hundreds, even thousands of viewers who watch their stuff on at the same time on the live stream. My folks I'm a much more smaller group. It can range from maybe around like 20 to 40 people, smaller group, but somehow I was still able to do 500,000 sales, right? But so it doesn't really matter the size.
Great point.
So don't look at the viewer count, because that can be it's so hard to not though. I get it. It's so hard not to, but if you could get good quality service, the views ultimately, the viewers and views don't matter, because if you get a solid following and the people who want to stay with you and rip only with you, that's how you build up the business there. So it's not a matter of quantity, it's a matter of quality of your customers.
That's very encouraging for anyone, right? They seeing your journey, they understand that, hey, as long as you're consistent, you don't need hundreds and thousands of followers to make this into something tangible.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. And hopefully that kind of proves that from my end, because it's like you would not think that. I think if you look at my stream and you see kind of like how many people are watching, like, that guy it doesn't seem like you have much. But that's why it's surprising for me, even more so, is that, when you're in it, when you're actually like working on the shop, when you're doing the live streams, you don't realize until you look back on everything, look at the numbers, look at the metrics, and then realize, wow, actually we did a lot. We did quite a bit of damage. We opened 70,000+ packs of cards over the past year, and I didn't think of that as just someone who has honestly averages less than 40, 50, less than
one really impressive number you shared was that you have 57 retention, customer retention rate. I was looking at some of your past streams, and then I saw one of your live ones 2 days ago, and I saw the same people join again as well. Do you have any tips around how to get people to trust you and come back?
Yeah, I think it's honestly providing a good quality service, but also I think what sometimes ripper shippers can come off as is very pushy. Like if a stream's not performing, like meaning like it's not like people are buying packs and we're not ripping. Sometimes you have people push back, come on guys, let's get the, you know what I mean? And it's a little bit of a turn off. So if you have a genuine kind of building with your customers, just having a casual conversation, ask them how their day was, things like that really make a difference between them want to come back and seeing you versus them be like, all right, peace out, I got to go back.
Not just a transaction.
You have to find a way to make a lasting impression on them. So there's definitely ways to, and that's part of like finding your own brand, finding your own voice in a sense of like how you want to, what kind of streamer you want to be. Because rip and shippers are streamers. We stream. And for the hours that we're streaming, we're there to not only entertain, but to build connections with people. Because they are trusting their money with us to rip open these packs. And if you get an expensive card, they have to have some sort of trust that you're going to send them, the card that you pull, right? And so, it's definitely was awesome to see. I think 57% retention rate is definitely solid. And I still have some people from the very first stream I ever did still come back. Because I remember his name was Isaac. He's my first customer I ever had. And he still stops by from time to time.
That's awesome.
I think sometimes people don't get hits. There's they get nothing out of a pack. But sometimes it's still a business, right? But not saying that you have to be, you have to donate this stuff all the time, but you give them extra hits. If you have some extra EX cards, like extra hits they have, even though they didn't get anything, I tend to just give them a few extra hits. Sometimes before I used to give them even extra packs just to kind of see if we get the chase, Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to look at it from a bigger picture. You can't look at it from a perspective of one order or one profit of one pack. You have to look at it from a bigger scheme of things, right? So even though if I give someone an extra pack of 151 back then, it's $10 back in the time. Now it's crazy expensive. But if I give them an extra pack for $9, that makes them at least appreciate it. Be like, hey, I appreciate the extra hits. The extra packs, if they come back one more time, two more times, three more times, you're gonna make probably more than $10 pack that you gave, right? So that's why customer retention is a huge part of it, because if you have enough customers coming back to you and trusting you, they end up spending enough to kind of cover wherever kind of freebies you do give away.
That's true.
So it's an important aspect. We as a community, for me, when I the first time it comes into our stream, I like to give them a little bit extra. But I always like to make it a very personable experience. I always ask them, I'll be like, if Kevin, you join, and so Kevin, what's your collecting? How long have you been collecting for? What are you chasing, right? So I try and make it a very engaging, personable experience. And most people, unless they're uncomfortable with me calling by their actual government name, as people say, then I'll call them by their username. But I like to call people by their names because, for me, it just creates the connection more so, versus that you're just an order number, right? It makes it much more of a different rip experience when you're your name, when you're here long enough in the community, you really start you're ripping with some friends, right? But just virtually, Right. And so I think that's kind of how I've been able to build up that retention, is by really creating a environment that is family-like, and more personal. So that's kind of how I've been able to do that.
I love it. So many nuggets. I appreciate all that you've poured into this. This will help many people along their journey, whether it's a customer or being a operator as well. Mike, where can people find you? Are you working on anything that you want to get more eyeballs on? Here's your time.
Yeah, no, Kevin, I appreciate you inviting me to come be one of the first virtual guests. But yeah, if everyone wants to find me, I'm on YouTube, Mike X Collectibles, also on Instagram as well under the same handle. I also have my website, MikeXCollectibles.com, where you can find all different products from Pokémon, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, Locana, lots of different products. And we have a ship stream every Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays right now at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely a lot of fun. But right now I'm actually working on a lot of more long form content. I think for the first year I focused a lot more on YouTube Shorts, on just showing the chase cards we hit. But now I want to kind of get into, now that I have all this experience, I do want to share it. So that's why I really wanted to, I enjoyed kind of hopping on this podcast, even though I probably blabbed off, I talked a lot.
Great.
But feel free if you need to any portions out if I'm talking too much. But I'd love to kind of share more of my journey as I go into year 2, and also just be able to kind of teach other folks kind of how to run their own business. Hopefully motivate people, showing that being that I still work full time and I still have a family, 3-year-old and a fairly still 6-month-old, keeping things busy. If I could do it, honestly, if a lot of other people can do it too. But yeah, so if anyone does have any kind of questions about their, starting up their own Ripper ship or just online TCG, you can feel free to reach out via IG or anything like that. Just PM me. Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you got to the end, we appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
That was a amazing interview. Thank you so much, Mike, for sharing all of your wisdom, your hour-long discussion with me when you have so many things pulling you in a million different directions. If there's one thing I would want everyone to take away, is that Mike's success proves that you don't need 1 million followers or unlimited time to make this work. He's living proof of that. So stop making excuses and get to work. And honestly, I'm talking to myself here. So Mike, thank you so much. And I appreciate you listening to the entire interview. If you made it this far, Mike is actually giving away $5 off his website right now. Click the link below, go to his website, claim that before it runs out. Okay, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.